Hey guys, I'm super stoked. I got my buddy Mark Dennison who came all the way out here from a farm in Wisconsin. He's not messing around. He wants to help as many people as possible. He's got a badass business. If you're struggling with drinking, if you're overweight, if you're not feeling great about your life right now, this guy could help you. He's a killer. He's helped tens of thousands of people just like you, and I have no doubt that he can help you, and I'm so excited to share his story with you, his journey. Stay tuned and watch till the end. My mom got sick in 2021. We didn't know what was going on. The only thing that the medical industry cared about was COVID at that time, right? Something was wrong. They were making my dad wait in the parking lot. Sure enough, later on, there was an ambitious doctor who said, look, something's not right. I'm going to scan your whole body. He had just got out of medical school, basically. And they found a basketball-sized tumor in her stomach. Turned out she had cancer. And of course, she died in the summer of 2021. But the point I want to make here is that I had tools to work through that situation. Like even my mom was thrown back at how I was handling it, but what she didn't understand is that I had done so much work and had been in therapy so long. It didn't wreck me to the point where I couldn't function. When people don't have tools, which come from therapy and come from doing work on your own, in those types of situations, it completely wrecks them. You need to do something with those tools. You have to go out into life and actually try to fix your life so you can fucking function and improve. And if you're a multi-decade AA'er and you're still as fucked up as you were in 1989 when you first came in, it's like, that doesn't make sense. It's so much different than what I think it was intended for. I think those meetings were really to give people a sign of hope and kind of get them going. But the idea is that you're going to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go out and try to fix your life on your own. The work is done by you, right? By the person.
My fight's not with AA, right? It's not. My fight's with the ideals behind the thought of being somebody who's thinking the way that you're talking. The greatest gift, the greatest power you possess is the ability to choose. Nobody forced me to drink. Nobody forced me to put needles in my arm. Nobody forced me to do steroids. Nobody forced me to snort coke. Nobody forced me to do anything. So when you take a step back and you remove what it is that people are doing and you look at life holistically, my message is that inside, we should all have the ability to wake up and be free. I'm actually just really good at marketing, to be truthful. I'm really good. Alcohol is a thief, and I made a bunch of advertisements, and then I started drawing people in, and I went down and I served a very select individual. Business owners, 35 to 60, 65 years old, who struggle with alcohol, who are married, overweight, and I got super granular down into it, and that's who I approached to start helping. I didn't go out to try to attack people. They started to attack me, which in turn had me triggered to start a fight. I don't care if AA has people. I think it's great that it helps, right? I care that people get the chance to hear a different piece of information. If I didn't exist, 13,000 people that came through my program as of now would have never gotten help. So take 13,000, and then they have wives, right? Then they have kids. Then they have employees. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people have been helped. When I looked at my life, drinking 50 to 60 drinks a day, snort cocaine all day long, handfuls of pills, I just really hated myself. I had suicidal thoughts from the time I was a kid all the way throughout my life. And when you think about it, the fastest way to not feel is to put something in your body, whether that's food, alcohol, right? Drugs. My message is to go out and fight that mindset that people are screwed and let them know that on the other side of this choice is freedom. Yeah. Right? It's so much deeper. I got this picture of a guy in a construction outfit, construction boots, jean jacket, jean pants, right? Great guy, probably nice guy, 27 years, same coffee, same story, doing the same thing over and over and over. And he's looking at his life at the end of his life, and all he did was count days that he didn't drink. And when I looked at it for myself, I'm like, that can't be a life for me. I need to count memories, moments, and experiences. My son needs a father. My wife now needs a husband. My daughters need to see what it's like to be with a man that can control his destiny. My fight's not with AA. My fight is with average.
The problem is that you can get complacent in that situation and can be convinced that I'm a victim and I need this thing, it's for survival, and you kind of get into that mindset where it's like there are people that I know personally that are getting worse than from the day that they came in there. It's not that it's the program that does that, it's
association.
Yeah, exactly.
But think about that from the world that we come from. I don't know the ins and outs of AA when it started, but I know there's some ties to Rockefeller and stuff, right? You can't tell me that there's some fear mongering back in the day to be able to control society that was imprinted in 1939 that's now coming to fruition right now. It's such a movement. AA has done a great job of marketing and creating a movement. I only wish I could be as good as them. You can't make me believe that it hasn't been some sort of control that was put in years and years and years ago to get to what it is right now today. People will run to average, they'll run to powerless, they'll run to fear, they'll run to fright, they'll be afraid. And if we can keep people afraid, if we can keep people drunk, we can keep people coming back, then they don't have freedom. It just really frustrates me that people can't wake up.
Do you remember the first drink or when the drinking journey started?
Oh yeah, so I was 14 years old, right? My friends had just robbed the liquor store. They needed a place to stash out the alcohol. And my mom and dad just recently got divorced. So of course we just put some alcohol at my house. We had some vodka and some beers and act like a bunch of idiots. And then even at the time when my mom and dad got divorced, she started buying me Zimas. Do you remember Zima? Yeah. So she'd buy me some Zimas, man.
I'm old enough to remember that.
14 years old. I can't say that it was like, it immediately hooked me and like I was going to be drinking. But I will tell you this. The first time I did crystal meth when I was like 22 or 23, because I'd done cocaine. The drug dealer didn't have any more cocaine. He only had some meth, gave me some meth. I was on it.
Crystal meth, man. And you were able to get off that too. I never messed with that, luckily, but it was always alcohol for me. I feel like I came into the world, at least when I was younger, I was scared of everything. I was like scared of my own shadow, basically. And I felt like I came into the world like broken or something was missing. I find that people that stumble and fall into addiction, they actually are quite interesting and beautiful and dynamic people. And if anything, they're touched by an angel. They have a heightened sense of understanding, a beautiful way of seeing the world. They have a certain sense and a certain ability that is abnormal. It's extraordinary. It tends to be. The world can't really handle it. You know, they can't handle it either. And many of them don't have the tools necessary to be able to learn how to work with them, and they don't have the right guidance. You know, you don't choose what family you're born into, and sometimes your parents, they just don't know what to do and they don't understand in many cases. And I think you're not actually missing something. There's nothing actually wrong with you. The world programming is to keep you afraid and minimalized and to fall in line and to be linear. But unfortunately, humans aren't machines. We're dynamic spiritual beings. All of a sudden your friend hands you a drink and once and for all you have a feeling so elusive, and it's like, this phrase, I take a drink to take the edge off. And what we really are trying to do is not feel something. We would do anything not to feel the way we were feeling, which is why we drink or use drugs, so we could actually feel normalized like everybody else.
It never made sense for me to say that my life was unmanageable or powerless, because everything I'd done in my life required a significant amount of power. So building a business, you have to do something, right? Even going into AA and raising your hand and saying that your life's unmanageable takes power. And I like what you said right there. I've never actually heard it put that way. Spiritual being and like angelic style people, they're called to withstand more. That's the whole thing here in this conversation. Someone who's struggling with alcohol, with drugs, with addiction, with that pain. I was watching a video this morning about a little kid who has cancer and he's going to die this morning. And the guy was interviewing him and the guy was crying because the little kid was saying that God chose him so that his sisters didn't have to have. And he was smiling and happy. He's not mad at God. And if you think about this, okay, addiction, and I don't believe it's a disease, but I believe they were chosen to withstand more pain. Because inside of that pain is a blissful, beautiful message, which is why we're sitting right here on this podcast talking about it. If more people out there who are struggling with some sort of addiction or whatever, like they could just wake up and see how amazing they are, and how much more life there is to live, and how much more potential that they have, and how much more beauty there is inside of their everyday life, they would stop running from what they have. I drank because I thought I was unworthy of love. I drank and used drugs because I thought I was unworthy of love. My dad didn't want nothing to do with me. My mom and dad divorced. They left. They ran. Previous girlfriends I had when I was younger all broke my heart. The people that I loved died. So I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought if you got close to me, you hurt me, and that love wasn't for me. 9 years later, just about 6 months ago, I realized that all of the pain, all of the hurt, all of the struggle, all of the hatred, I couldn't have handled that if I actually wasn't love. I actually have more love and I am love, but I couldn't see how much love I actually was. And then I went to the world and I've been helping these people, like to do what I do, to go down to war, to be on the front lines, to get my hands bloody and dirty and help guys come back from literally death's doorstep, help these kids get their dads back, relationships back on fire, just to be part of their life and face the pain and face the people that talk poorly about me in my ads and the hurt. To face that, bro, I have to be a significant amount of love. And that would be a great message from this podcast to be able to land on people. You said angelic, but if they could just look in the mirror and see how great they are and how powerful they are, no matter where they're at, I don't care what program they're in, if they could just do that.
As soon as you go, oh, there's something wrong with me and I can't function without this thing, you're in trouble. You have to get that information somewhere else, which is like no, I'm perfectly capable. I can rely on myself. And you start to do things and set yourself up in such a way where you're holding yourself accountable, and then you prove by having a track record with yourself that you can do certain things. You can accomplish everything you need to accomplish. That's the message I always tell people that are struggling. The reality is you are capable. You're capable. People are capable. People have done remarkable things. Like, I'm into classical music. I play piano. My biggest hero of all is obviously Beethoven. He started losing his hearing in his 20s, and by the time he wrote the Ninth Symphony, which took him 12 years to write, because he was struggling, battling, and wanted to quit, couldn't hear anything. There was no internet, no computer, no nothing. Here's a guy using parchment paper and like a feather pen.
And he could never even hear it, probably, huh?
He was never able to hear it. So he
doesn't even know what it sounds like, just what it felt like through the words he was reading.
Yeah, he could hear up into a certain point, but by the time, towards the end of his life, and some of his greatest work, his later string quartets and then his later symphonies, which are the most famous symphonies of all, in particular the Ninth Symphony, he was invited out, obviously. Somebody else had to do the conducting, but he was on stage. After it was performed, the guy tapped him on the shoulder because he couldn't hear. There was a standing ovation going on behind him. He turned around and he just started crying, but he couldn't hear it. There's countless stories like that about heroic people throughout time that have overcome adversity. And I just think you find yourself an addict or you find yourself in a vice of any kind, it all leads to the same outcome. It could be drugs or alcohol, sex, whatever it is. You feel an emptiness inside because it's the greatness that you have that's calling on you, and you feel that you're not living up to that potential. But at any moment in time, this is what I try to tell people. I shout this from the rooftops. At any moment in time, you could stop and decide, I'm not going to do what I was doing before. I'm going to do this instead. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life tapping into my inborn potential and becoming the best version of myself. It's just a decision. That's it. We're rational beings. We have the ability to reason. We can make a decision at any moment to change our lives. And that's the real message. That's why I like the space that we're in. And it does get a lot of heat, the influencer space, the entrepreneurial space, the motivational space. Dude, these guys are changing people's lives, man. Making them millionaires. Their whole lives are turning around. And all these other thumb-sucking people are going down, not up. Which one's better? You know what I'm saying?
Does it matter which one's better?
No, I don't think it does. I think it matters what works for you.
And there's just going to be a certain segment of people that just want to go down.
Yeah, it's true.
This is where it's sad. You actually care because you want to help those people, and you just can't. How many people do you know? I guarantee there's people you used to run with. Because there is for me, right? There's friends that I used to have. They just won't ever agree with me or hear what I have to say or think past what they believe to be true. Never even question if it is true or why it's not true, right? And they're just going to stay stuck in a place. My greatest struggle is wanting to help everybody, and I can't.
Yeah.
And when you can't do that, it makes you feel like you're not good enough. And then I start telling myself, well, wait a minute. You're Mark Jennison. You can do it. Like, that's in my mind. You can do it. You've overcome all of this stuff. You've built this. You've done that. You've helped this person. You're the comeback story. You're the comeback kid. Like, you can change stuff. And then I try, and I go down this rabbit hole to where this vortex of just mediocrity and complacency will suck me in. Not by me being mediocre, but by me trying to save the people that don't want to be saved. Just like in swimming, right? Someone's drowning. You got to be careful they don't pull you down. I find myself getting pulled down by those people because there's a place for love for everybody. And those very people are the ones that hate me. It's a wild world for me to live in, bro. I don't believe I have a business. I know that I do, right? I believe that I do. But I believe that there's a calling on my life to make a movement that's going to rival it, that's going to go to the segments of the people that never had the opportunity to hear the message that I'm putting out there. And they're going to eventually hear it, and it's going to live on long after I die.
Yeah, and it probably will. And I think those are the things that last, and that's real legacy, what you're talking about, legacy. That's what we always say. People are like, well, what do you do? What we really do is help people build legacy through video. That's what we actually do. Like, we try to encourage people, no, this is like your movie. Like, when you die, your kids, your grandkids, and beyond are going to be able to watch you on video. Like, I still listen to Jim Rohn videos. I still watch Jim Rohn videos. It's still with us to this day. And I think that's really what it is. Like, we're talking about legacy. Your business is a legacy, and it's really you. I'm a comeback, and your program, everything that you're doing it's really you. It's your calling. It's your purpose. Like I say, my company, Dorothy House, it's me turned inside out. What is it? That's what it is. It's my legacy, basically, right? I think that's beautiful, and I think that's what everybody should be striving for, is that you have to have something that you believe in so much that it feels like it is you. And it doesn't feel like work, and you're probably living in your purpose in that sense.
Yeah, man. You know what I hear from a lot of the guys I coach? Like, I want to find my purpose like you found your purpose. I'm like, well, what do you think the purpose is? And then they'll tell me, well, to help people and to do this. And I said, no, man, I don't really think that's my purpose. My purpose is to live. I need to live and continuously pursue me, connect myself to God, do what's right, keep leaning into this world that's out here in front of me and being me, and wake up every day and be right by me, do right by me so I can go help others do what they want to do. The actual purpose is the gift of life. That's what I believe it really truly is, right? If you don't have that, you don't have a purpose. So when I get that spark and I get that ability to wake up every morning, I get to wake up with so much gratitude that I am like on fire to just breathe and to be alive. And then what you choose to do with it is what you choose to do. To people out there like, I got to find my purpose. I got to find my purpose. You can find your purpose by looking in the mirror and being proud of who you are and living today for today and playing all the way in and learning and developing and pursuing and loving and connecting. I think the greatest gift we have, other than the ability to choose, is the fact that we get to take a breath. You know, I wasn't always a millionaire. I was a fat little baby that came from a trailer that was dirty. All my pictures of my baby book are just rolling around in dirt and mud and Dobermans and nunchucks and Pepsi, right? Like for me, man, I've touched many different caveats of life. I've been very successful multiple times, from building companies up and losing them, building them up, losing them, building them up, losing them. It's always been a feeling that I can touch base with everybody. So when I was drinking and doing drugs, I could hang out with rich people or I could hang out with bums. But I think what has to happen for me, at least on my journey for my legacy, is I got to figure out how to take the message and transcend just where I actually exchange it for money.
Ultimately, your goal is to just try to bring it to a larger audience, get the opportunity to have a larger audience.
I think my goal is to not shut up until enough people know about it, right? I think that's what it needs to be. So for 9 years, I've been working on myself. For 6, I've been doing I'm a Comeback. For 6 years, I've helped essentially rich people. Love them. Those are my guys. I know how to coach them. So there's the coaching and there's the movement. I want to build the movement.
Yeah, it's time.
I mean, when I first started doing this, man, I went to jail and spoke in jails. It was really cool. Yeah.
In the beginning?
In the beginning. I was still selling cars at the time. So I was bouncing back and would go into these jails. I was a wildcat, right? So I'd run in there and we'd open up and I would just share my story with guys in the jail. That's kind of where it got going, right? Like I was actually doing it. And then I got real good at what I did and I was able to go help the people that could create the money. Now the people that helped me create the money, the business owners, the entrepreneurs, the high level executives, now I use the money that I made to pour back into these guys. I was telling my wife on the way out here, like, I just don't think I've done enough. I don't think we've done enough. My results suck. We're not big enough. Why are we not packing stadiums? Why are we not doing this? Why don't we have a low ticket tier product? Why, right? Like actually 4 days ago, I'm out on my back porch with her. I got my shirt off, suntan, and she's suntan, and I just lost it. From a place of frustration, not hatred for my life. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. There's this gnawing, nagging feeling, and it's not just from the business, but it is also from creating a business, because when there's so much to go and so much to do, and you know you're in alignment with the assignment, and you know you're pursuing the levels of freedom that you're after, like, and you're not doing it, it goes against everything that I am. I told my wife, I said, how do I lead these guys and tell them to chase their dreams, yet I'm not actually chasing mine? But I live by a code called stop fucking lying. Although I'm not lying, I know I'm lying inside.
It reminds me of someone will ask me, are you ever happy? And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy, but I'm just not satisfied. The entrepreneur always wants more. After they do this thing and they arrive at that thing, they're going to want to do the next thing. They just keep moving. That's why billionaires stay in the game, because you got to fall in love with the game. It's like life. I was sitting with my daughter and I'm like, I stopped for a minute and I'm like, this is life right here. I'm like reading her a book. It's the everyday stuff. It's like the rhythm of life, the beat of life. It's the same thing with business. You have to fall in love with the process itself. And I think it's just a part of the entrepreneurial spirit to not be satisfied and always to be hungry for more.
But it can't be more money. Like I built a really good business that takes care of us really well. I have no debt. I've actually realized that now that I don't have to do this for money anymore, because there was a time I had to, right? You had to do it I had to do it to pay back the IRS. I had to do it to get my son. I had to work to get money to be able to pay back stuff and to be able to build the life and to be able to get the house and take care of my kids. And when I got to the other side of this and I'd done some things correctly in my life, and it's no longer for the comfort or the safety, my hunger got more intense. And I realized just recently, like in the last 6-7 months, now that I don't do it for actual profit, the purpose is pushing me further. To really, truly do it because you want to, not just say it, it's a beautiful thing.
I have no doubt that you're going to break through and go super, super far. Your head talks to you. I think there's a guy that wrote a book on this, The Untethered Soul. The voice in your head, it's like you have these voices in your head, and then Eckhart Tolle is like, the voice in your head is not who you are, it's the awareness of the voice in your head that is who you are, right? So it's like these voices in our head, whether positive or negative, there's chatter, and it can be debilitating and keep you in bed in the morning. One of the key characteristics in an entrepreneur, whether we have a migraine or our toe hurts or our back hurts or it's cold or hot or whatever, anything in between, we still put our feet on the floor and make sure we do our non-negotiables because we know that that's what makes or breaks it, right? And I think that's a key indicator to someone that's going to be successful.
Being crazy is like the greatest gift to be an entrepreneur, but watching your craziness, watching that become something, there's the how to the crazy is the most important piece. And that's what you're talking about there. Non-negotiables, being able to move when you don't want to move, to be able to look at something in the face of like, man, I failed, but I'm going to try one more time. And if we take life and entrepreneurship and even addiction and pain and struggling, you're actually doing the same thing. When you're winning and moving away from drinking, or winning and moving away and building a business, even when you're drinking and doing it, you're still moving and doing a non-negotiable. I must get drunk or I must not get drunk. We create these things for ourselves every day. They become our musts, our standards, they become our morals, how we operate every day. It hurts more to be lazy than it does to move. I don't know how it feels inside of your body or in your mind, right? But that voice inside of mine, when I'm not doing enough or I'm not doing what I said I'm going to do, I will stop and get up and do what I have to do. But I need to do the things. I need to go the extra mile. I need to go just a little bit more. That's not just what makes an entrepreneur. That's what makes an elite human being, doing the stuff that no one else is actually going to do.
I already know because I've gone through it. Like, you could literally take everything from me and I'm going to figure the shit out. Like, straight up. It's really resourcefulness. I think Tony Robbins, there's a clip going around. It's being resourceful. That's how you find resources, by being a resourceful person. So at some point you realize, no, I know how to be resourceful because I am resourceful and I will find the resources necessary to get to where I want to go. You trust yourself by proving to yourself that you can do it. And that's why I think adversity is important. And I think sometimes the worst thing that ever happened turns out to be the best thing that ever happened. It's like, that's why you have to feel pain when you lift weights in order to get the muscles. It's like life's design. It's passion, death, and resurrection. That's basically our life's design. Whether or not people believe in the Judeo-Christian story, it's a part of life's design, and maybe they made poor choices to put themselves in a bad situation, but I know that I can get out of it. And that's where you want to get.
I'll tell the people in my program, in my group, in the coaching, my team, I said, put me up, line me up with all the billionaires, take away all the money, all the clothes, drop us off in the middle of nowhere. I'm coming out of that thing alive no matter what. And it's not because I'm smarter. There's a knowing, because I've been so comfortable in the darkness. I know what it feels like to have nothing. I know what it's like to sleep outside. I know what it's like to eat out of the garbage. I know what it's like to suffer. I know what it's like to hate myself. Even when I was drinking, even when I was doing drugs, even when I hated myself, there was a desire to never, ever, ever lose.
Yeah, it's just, you can operate at a higher frequency anytime you choose, you know? Like Wes Watson talks about this all the time. He's like, I just operate at a higher frequency. That's it. You know, any of you could do the same thing. There has to be a desire to want to do that. What I tell myself is that that's our calling, right? You go through whatever it is you're going to experience, you die, you learn the lesson, and you're glorified.
And here's what's cool about it. It can be as fast or as slow as you want.
Yeah, you could expedite it and move faster,
Yep.
But one way or another, you hit a lid, it's time to get crucified, die, and resurrect. I'm not saying people should beat themselves over the head with a billy club. I'm just saying that you need to embrace the suck. You need to invite the obstacles because they're coming.
You said embrace the suck. So many people are walking around sucking all the time, and if they would just make one decision to understand that that suckiness can go away, like, okay, this sucks, my life sucks, I can do something. They could just look like a 1 degree to the left or 1 degree to the right. They could see a different opportunity. Like, wait a minute, there's a different way, there's a different path, there's a different thing for me to do, but they won't give themselves permission to actually see it. So embracing the suck is the actual physical feeling of embracing the suck that you're in. And there's also embracing the suck that, wait a minute, inside of this suck, I actually can do something about it. If we were to go back and look at your life and my life, there's probably so many different levels and details that we've overcame that we didn't even count as wins. Things that you picked up, you didn't even know you were doing it.
People kind of settle in and they get used to it and they get complacent, and it's like, I don't want to go to my grave with my music still in me. It's my biggest fear. And I had an opportunity to spend the last 5 weeks of my mother's life with her. I was like, Mom, don't you want to watch the sunset one more time? Go to the beach one more time? Have a milkshake one more time? Go to the movies one more time? Yes, 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 yes. But unfortunately, it was too late. Ambulance drove her to my house and she died 5 weeks later. And so as I was sitting with her, and she was only coherent for about 2 weeks of the 5 weeks, that's what you don't want. You don't want to go to the end of your days and go, yes. It gets revealed to you as you're moving along. And I think that's why execution without a clear purpose is so important, is that it's up to us to do the work. It's why,
as long as you're looking and willing to look for it, right?
Right. And as long as you're doing taking the actionable steps and moving towards the goal, you will get the dream. If you put one foot in front of the other, you take the actionable steps, you're going to get there. And especially if you believe it. I mean, belief is dangerous. That 100%. Person that believes more than anyone is going to do shit like we've never seen. So yeah, I mean, I'm all about that. Like, I play classical piano. It's the hardest thing that I've ever done in my whole life. At some point you go, whoa, I'm in this thing. I didn't even notice. I'm in the thing now, or I'm at this new phase, or in this new level of the castle, or whatever, right?
I think it's very important to remember that most of the days you don't want to do it. Over the past 9 years, I've done things more when I didn't want to than when I did want to. It's easy to not drink for 30 days. Or how about going to the gym? It's super easy to go to the gym for 30 days. What do you do the other 23 hours of the day? You have to execute when you don't want to do this stuff. The business I built, the relationship I have, the friendships that I have, majority of the time, I do stuff I don't want to do. And I think that's the ultimate key to success.
Yeah, you can't only do stuff when you feel good, or you're never going to do shit.
I don't even think it's about feeling good, man. Because half the time you feel great. That's why I don't want to do stuff.
Yeah, because you're like, I already feel good. I just want to relax and put my feet up.
You know how many people say they deserve a drink on Friday? I closed a big deal. Yeah, but bro, isn't that your job? Don't you have a wife and kids at home who need you to do that to keep a roof over your head? But you're going to celebrate because you deserve it? No, man, you feel great right now because you're coming off that win. Go get another one.
Well, I use a buy-in model. I call it the buy-in model. So basically every day I do the stuff for me first, and that's how I purchase the rest of the day. So every morning I get up, I meditate, I pray, I read 10 pages, then I play piano, then I go to the gym, then I go to work. So I look forward to that thing, but I have to earn the shit. I got to earn it. Otherwise I don't get it. And it's way easier. And I just heard Jeff Bezos interview where he's like, yeah, I kind of putter in the morning. That was the word he used, which is so interesting. I read the paper, I do this. And I think there's something to that. I think like the golden hours of the morning, they're special, and I think they are really meant for us, depending on what your schedule is. I'm not saying it has to be the morning, but I think it is a good way to start. You start with yourself and then you move to life after that. Work's always going to be there. All the problems are always going to be there. The fires are coming no matter what. And if you program yourself and you deal with yourself first, you're going to be more well equipped to deal with the day's problems if you do that. That's been my...
So for me, man, if I don't win the morning, I can't win the day.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how my mindset works. But I don't ever look at it. I've heard the phrase buy-in, right? But I also don't think I've ever done enough. So I'm continuously chasing this desire and this feeling that I have inside. But for me, it's a very rigid, just time efficient, win things a certain type of way, no matter where I'm at, make sure I get it done. I did it this morning, right? I have to do it all the time. You said something about the golden hours of the morning. Nobody bothers me in the morning. When you win the morning every day, and even beyond the standards, but you set out and have that first win, then you can actually win the day. So my whole program is based off what we call the Comeback 7: faith, finances, family, fitness, future, freedom, and foundation. Now, faith in my program simply means believing in something you cannot see. So I help these people believe in themselves and control over alcohol because I can see that I can all do it because I've helped so many people. Second is finances. You can't continue to put poison and toxins into your body day in and day out and expect to win and dominate any marketplace or lying to yourself if you say that you can. So I have you commit to being the hardest worker in the room by learning and reading and doing some new skills. Third is your family. Although it's third, it's the most important one. Because if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in God, and you don't actually go to work, you can't pay and take care of your family and keep a roof over their head with love and hugs. So you need to make sure you have money to take care of these people. So every day I have my people send a video first thing in the morning to their wives. This opens up what I call the gap of creation. Because for so long, the men that I've helped, their word, and like yours was, and probably mine was for sure, yours might not have been, but I lied so many times. So what I do is I have these guys send videos to their wives every single day. I still send one to my wife every day, 6:30 in the morning. If I don't send her a video, she's like sending me a meme saying like, where's my video? But what it does, it opens up this gap of creation. So as I'm out living in the world first thing in the morning, taking my time, the golden hour, like you said, this special moment of mine, she's able to see that I'm connecting with her and I'm thinking about her, which helps open up the relationship to communicate the way that I want to communicate. Fourth is our fitness, right? Working on your body, mind, being, soul, from a place of love versus hatred for yourself 7 days a week, even if that's 45 minutes of just walking or meditating or whatever it is that you choose to do. Fifth is creating a future. So I have these guys write down a future inside of a journal and a notebook that they can see, they can touch, they can taste it, they can smell it. So when a trigger hits and life hits, they're able to focus on what it is that they want to focus on and what they're actually building, the why to the what, right? The sixth stage is called freedom. And freedom is a 3-stage process. The first stage is just not drink. If you notice, I don't even talk about drinking until like they've done a 6th thing in their life. I've changed their habits. I changed their white space. I changed the thinking that they've done. The second stage of freedom is figuring out why they've been doing what they've been doing. So I've created course and curriculums. And for me, it's continuous questioning on why I feel the way I feel. And the 7th F is called the foundation, basically building a quantifiable way that you can stack, track, measure, and win. So just giving yourself a numeric point system, running your life like a balance sheet or a KPI and journaling about it. So for me, that's how I win the morning every day. I'm doing it for 9 years, just setting the intentions, following up on the day before, making sure that I won, and then try to beat it with intensity every single day.
We've been talking a lot about the entrepreneurial journey, the experience, the struggles of being a business person and all of that stuff, like your experience through all of that, which is amazing and remarkable. But talk a little bit about your business, in particular, what it does and how it can serve someone.
I Am a Comeback. We've been around for 6 years. And right now what I do is I serve business owners, entrepreneurs, high-level executives who are struggling with alcohol. Typically, these are the type of guys that like to take ownership of their problems. They're looking for a different way, or if they did go to AA, not that it's against AA, but they wanted a different way, a different path. So we have about a 97.3% success rate right now, which is amazing. And that's because we actually don't just try to solve the drinking. We get to the root cause of what's going on, like the why to the what of what you're doing through coaching, through community, through connectivity, through apps, all these different things we've done here. I went to AA, NA, sub recovery. I did all of those things. Nothing worked. I needed to find a path that I could actually see a quantifiable way for me to win. Not much of a business, as much of it's a movement to me. And truly helping people get out of their rut and look at this life for the first time and wake up to the idea that, hey, maybe I can control myself. Maybe I can actually drink like a responsible human being, because my life is even more than drinking. In its current form right now, it serves drinking. What it'll eventually become will serve anyone turning their struggle into their greatest strength.
So whatever someone's struggling with, their vice, whatever it might be like.
So I feel good enough to be able to serve alcohol, drugs, because that's like, addiction, because that was my thing, relationships, and business comebacks. Now, eventually what I'd like to do is have people who overcome grief and loss and weight loss, and even some people that overcame cancer, because I think there's people in cancer that want to continue to keep fighting and coming back, right? To create a place of empowerment and self-improvement and believing that as you get up every day, you get to wake up to this choice, this opportunity that, well, I can do something with this. I'm never going to quit.
So for anybody that's interested, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can come to iamacomeback.com, IAMACOMEBACK.com. I'm sure we could drop the link in there, or you can check me out on Facebook, Mark Jennison Jr., Instagram, Mark Jennison Jr.
It's been great having you out. I had so much fun with you today. We've been chatting about some serious stuff, philosophical, spiritual, sobriety, business, entrepreneurship. I love all this. I mean, I could talk about it all day. It's been so much fun, man.
Yeah, man, it was great. I really enjoyed it. We spent the whole day together. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to your audience. Look forward to doing some more work together.